Honestly, sometimes we carry along, poke along, just so we can cover up our pain. I've learned this. You can't make fun of somebody unless you deposit a whole lot of love first. You can't carry along with somebody and think that that's what's going to build a relationship. It's not. That's superficial. Those are superficial conversations. So you're only going to have very surface level relationships and very surface level connections. And sometimes you're going to drive a wedge between you and somebody, you thinking that it was actually, well, this is how we... No, there's deeper connection. I mean, think about this. You probably carried along all your life, picking fun, but how many of those people are really your friends? Honestly, sometimes we carry along, poke along, just so we can cover up our pain. And I'd say probably most of the time that's why we do it. Well, that's how we get along. Yeah, that's how you get along, and that's how you connect or whatever on a very surface level, because you're afraid of really being real and really showing people how much pain you're in, because you don't trust anybody. Because everybody does surface level conversations with you. All they do is poke and make fun and carry along. So you never really get down to the bottom of things, because you can never feel like you can trust anybody. You never feel like you really open up with them and really tell them what's really in your heart. Oh, well, because last time somebody showed weakness, we all made fun of them. Well, I definitely can't get real with somebody now, because they're just going to make light of it. The truth is, we all really, truly desire deep, meaningful connection where we can really be vulnerable and talk about our weakness. We don't want to, because it can be painful, right? But we've got to get to the point where we can really be vulnerable. There's two kinds of victims. There's the one that gets shut up and shut down, and then there's the one that goes on the offensive and the defensive, and they begin to... They're basically hiding behind their comedy, in a sense. They're hiding behind their words, so you won't really know who they are. I'm telling you, every popular person you'll ever meet, who everybody so-called likes, they're all alone, and they don't feel like they have any friends. They don't feel like they have really real friends. People just come to them for their status, and they use them. Everybody feels used. It comes down to really caring about people. You know what I learned? Everybody wants to talk about themselves. You know how to keep a conversation going? Just keep asking questions. A lot of people say, well, the conversation just died. Well, you obviously didn't care enough. Either the conversation didn't die because we keep talking, right, ourselves, okay, or we pull it out of somebody. We got to pull it out of somebody. You have to ask a lot of questions. You have to get to know somebody. That's what develops relationship with other people. You have to figure out, well, man, why are you here? What brought you to this place in your life? How did you get here? And the people that talk all the time, that you say, well, man, that guy just won't stop talking. Well, you know why? Because he obviously don't feel like he's been heard. Now, I'm talking about heard. You can sit there and listen and nod your head, but did you understand? It's not about, well, they heard me, or they were there in the room when I was talking, and I was talking to a wall. Here's when somebody knows they've been heard, when you can repeat back to them what they said, and engage. Here's the thing. Part of listening isn't just listening, it's asking questions. Really? Well, why? Like, go back. Tell me again, what happened there, and why? You know, a real engagement. Leaning forward, looking into their soul. You know, I remember sitting down with a man. He took me out to lunch one day. When I was talking, this is what he did. We're sitting at the table, and he leaned forward. Just listen. Really, Zach? Yeah. And he gave me feedback. Start talking, asking. Well, how do you reason this out, Zach? He just really engaged, and he didn't talk much. He just asked, and I was talking the whole time. And I was looking at this, and I had to apologize, man, because sometimes I feel bad about talking too much. I said, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk so much. But the truth is, there's people that pull it out of you. There's people that are hungry for what you have to say, and they pull it out of you. Then there's people that really care about you, and they pull out you. They pull out what you're dealing with, and you start talking about your troubles and things like that. And sometimes you feel bad maybe about talking too much. No, look, if they're pulling it out of you, that's because they care about you. Here's what I've learned. It's not about you. If I'm going to be listening to someone's story, and they want to tell me the story again, the Lord told me one time, I said, God, I'm sitting here listening to this sermon. I've already heard this message before from someone else. I already got this. And the Lord told me, well, you obviously didn't hear everything you needed to hear. So you know what I learned? Same thing with people. When they tell me their story, you know what? Maybe I need to listen again. Maybe I missed something. Maybe there's something, the reason why they're repeating themselves. Why are they telling the story again? I need to hear what they have to say. Maybe there's something they haven't got down to the bottom of. Because I'm going to tell you what, when you resolve all your heart issues about stuff, you don't talk about it anymore. I know. I used to tell people my story all the time, how I was picked on and everything. There's people that know me that they'll say, you were picked on as a kid? Yeah, because I never talk about it anymore. Why? Because I've already resolved all the issues with it. It's not an issue with me anymore. But when I did talk about it at the beginning, when I started telling people about how I felt, I was trying to get healing. And you know what happened? People would not listen. And they would avoid me like the plague the next time because I talked their ear off for 2.5 hours. I remember telling this one girl, her name was Rachel. We went down to this band banquet or whatever. We get back to her place. We sat down in the car. And I started sharing my story. 2 hours later. For real. For real. I spoke to her 2 hours telling her my story. And she listened, you know. But she never talked to me again. And, you know, part of it bothered me that she didn't want to talk to me again. Like, she just avoided me, it seemed like. It wasn't that she avoided me. It's like almost, you know, I didn't know why. I know why now. Back then, I didn't understand. I know why now. First of all, everyone's got to get their story out. Everyone has to get their story out. And they have to get their story out enough times until they get healed. Part of healing is confessing. The Bible says that. Confess your sins one to another, and you shall be healed. You have to confess. You have to tell your heart. You won't get healed until you get to tell the story enough. So when is it okay to stop telling the story? When you get healed. Get healed. And look, if you tell people, oh, you talk too much, you just lost it. I'm going to tell you right. The moment you tell somebody, I don't want to hear, man, I've heard that story too many times. They're not going to talk to you anymore. You lost the connection with them. They won't talk, no matter how many times you ask them to. I mean, you have to really build that connection again. I'm telling you right now. You will have to build, because people won't trust you anymore, and they won't want to share with you. If they feel like I'm just bothering this guy. If someone feels like, I'm just bothering this guy, then they'll stop talking. And that's not necessarily good. Maybe you're not being annoyed anymore, but they're not getting healing either. And it's not about us. There has to be a point when we really love people that we'll sit there and suffer like Jesus. Long suffering. It's called patience. Love is long suffering. Sometimes you got to sit there and listen to somebody. Not because you already heard, not because you want to hear the story again, but because you love them and you care about them. Does that make sense?